RocSports. I'm back with another video. As you can tell by the title, I'm gonna go out on a limb with this video. We're gonna talk about Deontay Wilder. Let's get right into it. First thing first, let me not say go out on a limb. I know a lot of y'all probably heard that and was like, that's not going out on a limb, what you were about to hear what I'm about to say. So it's by the title, as you can tell by the title, I got Wilder is going to KO Usyk. We're about to talk about that. But first thing first, let me do a quick recap. Touch on Wilder's knockout over Helenius. It was expected. I'm not gonna give him too much credit for the end result, but the way he did it, the fashion that he did it in, I'm going to give him his credit. Wilder never ceases to amaze me, man, in terms of the knockouts. It's like you know it's coming, you don't know when it's coming, but it literally can be the first round or the 12th round with Wilder. And that's scary, man, as an opponent. It's like, how can you really sit up here and say you could be beating this man for 10 rounds and then 11th round? You know, that's really crazy to say. You can't say that about literally no other fighter in boxing. Maybe Tank, that's about it. But fighters weaken as fights go on. You know what I mean? A lot of people's power is not the same later in fights. And we seen Wilder's power be just as deadly in the 12th round as it is in the first round. But him and Malik Scott touched on that they just wanted to make Helenius, reach, and that's exactly what they did. And as he said, he reached, he teached. So he just explosive, man. He didn't get full leverage on the punch. It's crazy. It's crazy. You can't make it up with this dude. And then when you look at his frame, his weight, this weight that Wilder's at, I think it should be no more questions about his weight in terms of if he's going to be on the lighter side of the head. I think 214, as he said himself, 213, or let's just say 210 to 225. Anywhere in there, or really 210 to 220 for me, Wilder he's a killer at all points, but the speed and the quickness aspect adds a whole different component to him as a fighter. But that right hand, man, I mean, that's obvious, the eye-catching, what everybody, wants to talk about. And that's what I'm about to talk about. So let's just talk about the elephant in the room, the title, or why you here. Usyk. Now, Wilder, believe it or not, I think he has a lot of options. He can go the Ruiz route. He can go the JoeJoyce route. I think anybody, now don't get me wrong, I think everybody know that at this point now that Wilder would knock out Dillian Whyte cold. He would be just another victim on Wilder's record. I always thought that. But it's still not a bad fight just because of the history and stuff. I know Dillian Whyte just got knocked out. I'm not by any means saying this, but I'm just saying this is still an option. This was a fight that was supposed to happen before the Fury third fight. I'm sure everybody, remember the history with Dillian Whyte. But so he got the Dillian Whyte, he got JoeJoyce, he got Ruiz. They even talked about an Ortiz and a Fury rematch again. Obviously no to Ortiz. I'll even say no to Fury. Like, Fury's the better man. The Usyk, the Joshua is still one of the biggest fights in not just the division, but in boxing, period. In every way you want to look at the fight, from an excitement standpoint, the money, the magnitude of that is still one of the biggest fights. But these guys are just coming, man, at the heavyweight division. It's kind of a deep division if you really look at it. But I do think there is a drop-off, though, like once after you start mentioning a couple of names. But it's deep, though. Like, you got a new line of prospects that's ready to, step on the scene. But, again, what we here for? Wilder, Usyk. Wilder will flatline Usyk, y'all. I'm telling you. Wilder is going to knock out Usyk. I'm not going out on the limb. It's not going out on the limb to say that, because obviously if Wilder was to win the fight, about 99.9% it will be by knockout. You know what I mean? So if this fight was to get made right now, I'm picking Wilder by knockout, and I'm being 100% honest. Wilder come in at his 220, 215, whatever weight he come in, it don't matter what Usyk come in at. I really don't think it matters. Is Usyk the better all-around skillful fighter? Absolutely. I don't think that there's any debate when it comes to that. But let's talk about the actual fight. This really could get made. Now, I really wish that Usyk would have stood by his word and, been at the fight, but whatever. He don't have to explain this. He's a grown man at the end of the day. He didn't show up. Okay, whatever. Wish he could have been there, though, just for, make it a little interesting. But Fury seemed like he just don't want that Usyk fight for whatever reason. It's always something with Fury, but he seemed like he don't want Usyk smoke. I'm somebody that would pick Fury to beat Usyk, but at the end of the day, he seemed like he's just not interested in the fight. It's news coming up every day with Fury. It's just Tyson Fury. This is Tyson Fury. Anybody that knew of Tyson Fury since way back 2012, 2013, this is who he is. You can't predict the guy. So if he was whoever Tyson Fury fight, I believe it when it's done. Like, you know what I mean? When his fight week down there. In terms of opponents, it's like, who can Usyk really fight? Like, what makes sense? A JoeJoyce is like, we need to see more from JoeJoyce. He already beat Joshua, took care of him twice, so he's out the picture, obviously. I would love to see Wilder and Joshua fight, but if we can't get that, I think Wilder and Usyk makes a ton of sense. Just because they're the crossroads and almost. It kind of sucks for Usyk just because of opponents, and he's one fight away from being undisputed. But that is what it is. But Usyk could be literally beating Wilder 8 rounds, shutout, dominating Wilder. Like, from a standpoint of, like, Wilder's not doing much, but like Usyk is winning the round. You know what I mean? Or Usyk's not doing much either, but he's doing more than Wilder. But Wilder's just one of those fighters, man. Like, sometimes he let guys get off. He let guys win rounds. And, you know, he coasts with these guys. He carries these guys in a sense. And I just think, the thing about Wilder, though, with his right hand, he lands it on everybody. Like, yes, everybody knows that if you want to call him one-dimensional, whatever the case that you want to call him. Let's just say he is one-dimensional, which I'm one to think that Wilder is a little bit more skillful than what your average person would think. Is he a flat-out pure boxer? No, but he is a thinking fighter. You can't land the type of knockouts and the type of punches with the devastation that he do, and there's no technique or no thinking behind. No, he gets wild when he gets people hurt and they don't drop off the first, shot or whatever. But in terms of Wilder just throwing his straight technique right hand, most of his knockouts is just flesh technique. Speed, accuracy, that's what's so underrated with his right hand. The technique behind it, the speed behind it, the accuracy. Again, not only does he has arguably the most power in history, the hardest puncher in history, but there's literally not have been a fighter that has been in the ring with him that he hasn't landed on in this same punch. So I'm saying that to say Usyk is a hell of a fighter, man. The angles, the footwork, the mental, the ring generalship, the IQ, just everything. He's the total package. He has just enough power, I think, for heavyweight to keep a lot of these guys honestly. But I just think he's too small for Wilder. I just think, and not even necessarily too small, but I just think when Wilder lands on Usyk, it's going to be something that he simply never felt before. This is not none of these cruiserweight guys that he's been in the ring with. This is not Chisora or Witherspoon or Joshua, for that matter. It's not none of these guys. And we didn't see Usyk been hurt in the past to the body and up top. But the new improvements from Wilder, again, his quickness, his speed, the accuracy. He can get his punch off coming forward or backing up, talking about the right hand specifically. And it's going to come to a point in time where he's going to land on Wilder. Now, what's interesting is if he can hurt Wilder. If he can't hurt Wilder or really hurt, I'm not saying nothing that will stun. I truly believe that Usyk can stun anybody in the heavyweight. They're just big guys. So I think that he definitely can stun Wilder or possibly drop him if it's a flash type knock. But I don't know if he's seriously hurting Wilder. But if he, whether he is or not, I just simply think once Wilder touches that chin, it's over with for Usyk. He's not going to be one of those fighters that will be able to recover, or it's a completely different ball game with Wilder's past opponents with Usyk. That chin will be in the third row, man. This is a different type of power, man. And again, yes, Fury whooped him and Fury knocked him out twice, but Fury still took a lot to get through that. A lot. He got dropped 4 times. So it's not much more that I want to say. I'm going to just leave it at that. Wilder would knock out Usyk. We got more videos coming up. I just hope that we get a lot of these fights there that we want to see. This is RocSports. Stay tuned. I'm checking out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm I'm gonna be dropping more content.